Are you in a place where you are feeling like, wow, things just do not seem to be going my way? And, you're putting all this effort in, you're doing all that you think are the right things to do, and yet things are not turning out the way you had hoped they would. Well, I can say that I am right there with you and attest to the same things. And it can seem like you are, that where's God in all of this? Where are your blessings? Where's that special favor that have been promised? And we can often go and look at other people and do that compare and despair thing. I don't know how many of you have done that. I know I have. And I just have to be really transparent and honest and tell you that this last week has been really emotional for me. And I am so grateful for my tools, because if it wasn't for my tools, it would be a lot more challenging. But because of my tools, I have been able to work through these emotional, I'm going to call them upheavals, because they've really been intense. And so if you're going through something similar, let's face it, in order to transform, things have to change. And we don't always like it. We say we want change, but we don't always like it when it happens. So today we are going to be looking at how are we blocking our blessings? How are we blocking our blessings? And how are we blocking that special favor that we were promised? And so I have 3 things that I want to share with you today. And I'm all fired up because, wow, one of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you is so good. It is so powerful. I can't wait to share it with you. So the first thing that I want to share with you about how we are blocking our blessings, listening to other people, right? We get an idea or we think about something pops in, and, we especially as women, as I mentioned in the email that I had sent out, we are really wonderfully complex. And part of that complexity is that we want to analyze everything. We look at all the pros and cons, we weigh everything out, and all that does is make us indecisive. We get that nudge, we get that intuition, but then, that comes from the heart, which is where we want to stay. But then one of the ways that we block our blessings is that we go right up into our head and we start to look at, oh, you know what? Should I really do that? What if this happens if I do that? Or what if that happens? Or, we just come up with all these different scenarios that literally paralyze us. And so then what do? Then we think, oh, who can I ask for advice? Not that that's a bad thing. There are certain things that are helpful to ask for advice for. And where we want to be careful, though, is not to bypass that inner intuition and take other people's advice thinking that they know better than the intuition that you're getting, because that intuition you're getting, that is straight from God. That is straight from God. And I will share a story with you briefly. Years and years ago, I had the opportunity, the nudge actually, to buy a home that I was renting. It was right after my divorce. It would have stretched me to buy it, but I could have done it. And the urge and the nudge was so intensely strong, didn't go away. And what did I do? Instead of following it, I took some steps to follow up on it, but I thought, I'm going to ask a couple of my friends, husbands who are really financially successful, and this is their business. They manage other people's money, and I want to ask their opinion on this. And both of them advised me not to do it because being single, newly single, and all the responsibility of having a home, and what they were saying made sense, so I did not buy the home. And of course, now in California, we all know what home prices have done over the last, several years. And so I am mad at myself, not at the people who advised me. They were doing what they thought was best for me. Mad at myself because I had it straight from God to do it. And I didn't do it. And that was a blessing that he wanted to give me that I blocked by going into my head and turning to other people for their advice. So I want you to ask yourself, is there anywhere in my life that I do that? Is there anywhere in my life that I've done that? And we're not going to do that with judgment or criticism. We're just going to do that for an awareness of knowing that God is right there with us. He wants to bless us, but we often block ourselves. And why you want to notice where you might have done this in the past is to learn from it, That is having the awareness so that the next time something like that happens for you and a blessing is there for you, that you will step into it instead of blocking it. Okay, so that's one way. And I'm telling you, this third way that I'm going to share with you today is off the chart awesome. So the second way that we block ourselves is, again, stepping out of our heart, going into our head and wondering, oh my gosh, well, if I do this and I get really blessed by it, what will other people think? What will other people think? You know, one of the ways that we keep ourselves small is the fear of shining, And if there are people around us that we feel might be uncomfortable, if we're really blessed, how they might react to it. And I will be honest again, I'll use myself, be very transparent. This whole situation with the house and stepping into owning a home back at that time, this is several years ago. I was concerned how my sister might see it, because I really was embarrassed that I was making more money than her. And what would she think of me? Would I lose her in my life? I mean, it was so strong that also dissuaded me from stepping into a blessing. So I want you to think about that for yourself. Do you ever do that in your life? Do you wonder what other people would think if you were really blessed, and how that might affect your relationships with other people that you care about? When the reality is, other people will be inspired by you and how you step into the receiving and the steps that are involved. Because most of the time, the blessings involve us to take steps. They involve us taking actions. And that's how we grow. That's how we develop our character and more of our traits. And that can be inspiring to other people. So it's leaning into that knowing instead of worrying about how other people are going to perceive it. Because if God is giving you an idea or is telling you to take a certain action, that's who we want to have an alliance with, an allegiance with, an obedience with. Worry will always send us down the wrong path. Okay, the third way are all of the lies that we tell ourselves about ourselves or about a situation. And this can happen in the moment, but it can also have a buildup. And this is so huge. I had a huge epiphany around this myself. The lie, I want to give you the acronym for it because I recently heard it and it is brilliant. I didn't create it, but it is brilliant. And I want to share it with you because I think it is so powerful and so impactful. So lie, L, a lesser identity entering. A lesser identity entering, right? So when something happens that could be no matter what the circumstance is, and we tell ourselves a lie. Now, a lie is something that I'm going to call it the enemy. You can call it the devil, Satan, the dark side, the shadow side, whatever your term is for that. I'm going to call it the enemy. You know, we are here for a reason. God put you here for a reason. You have a purpose, and it is involved in impacting the world, blessing the world. And so God wants to bless the world through each of us. And yet, if we stand in that blessing, what happens is we become such a huge light. You know, we become such a huge light if we step into that blessing in the way in which it was given to us, and just the fullness of sharing it and bringing it to the planet without any ego, but just in the truth, just in the fullness and the truth of that blessing, you then impact and have a ripple effect on many, many people. Now, the enemy doesn't want us to do that. So the enemy feels the first place it knows it can get to us is through our thoughts. And so it fills our mind with lies. Lies are things that create doubt and worry and insecurity and fear and depression and sadness and looking back instead of looking forward or staying present. All the things that cause us to constrict, that cause us to close up. And when we close up, we can't receive a blessing. There's no way for that to flow. It's like, think about a hose, how water flows through it when it is laid out. But the second it's kinked, what happens? The flow stops. So that's what those lies, those thoughts do to us, is they kink the flow. So we can't receive a blessing if we are in a kinked up state from a lie. And a lie begins as a lesser identity entering. Now, if we do not do anything about that, if we don't stop it in its tracks, if we don't have the tools to know how to reframe and to take it out of our mind successfully, then that lie goes to lose identity evolving. So what that means is kind of a loss identity evolving, right? Because when we are in the lie of this lesser idea, that is about us getting into this place of loss. So a lose, L-O-S-E, identity evolving, a lose identity evolving happens when you do not catch in its track the lesser identity entering. Now, if that lose identity, if you allow it to evolve and evolve again without getting on it and really healing it, bringing in the truth of who you are and whose you are, what happens next? A losing identity is established. A losing identity establishes. And once you're in that losing identity, once it's really established, we block our blessings big time because we are kinked up. All along that hose, we are kinked up, thinking that, why is this happening to me? Why do I have these circumstances? I look around and other people seem to have so many blessings, that things seem to work out for them. Why isn't this working out for me? Why do I feel this way? Why didn't my marriage work out? Why didn't my, whatever that is for you? Why did this person have to leave? Why did this person have to say this? Why did my boss have to treat me that way? Why? That's always the wrong question to ask. It's a very disempowering question to ask. So the LIE acronym is 1, a lesser identity entering. If you don't catch it, if you don't heal it, if you don't create a new belief that challenges that lie that entered, then you move into lose identity evolving. And if you still don't get to that, then you move into the final phase of loser identity established. And that is challenging. It's more challenging to move out of, but it's not impossible, of course, because like I said, we have the tools to work with that. That is my passion, is helping women move out of that lie identity that is established when we go through challenging circumstances, whether that be a betrayal, whether that be a loss, but whatever, in somebody that you love, and maybe there's guilt around it. I know I talk to many women who have guilt around things. That's a lie. These are all ways that we feed our mind, that how the enemy gets in to block our blessings. So, as I said, I absolutely love and am passionate about helping people reverse those lies, to reframe them, and to establish new positive beliefs that will support you in opening so that you can receive God's blessings and God's favor. And what I know for sure is that once we reframe the lies and we create new beliefs, that things happen. I just had a gal tell me, she was having issues with her business and hiring, all of the people that were working for her. She bought a business and many of them were just not a good fit. You know how that is when a new owner comes in, and it was miserable. And we established a belief for her around that she was able to attract and hire really great people to support her mission. And she just sent me a text yesterday saying, oh my gosh, you're not, I just had to share with you. The last 3 people I hired are awesome and totally in alignment with my business and my mission. And she was off the chart, so enthused. And that's because we nipped in the bud her beliefs about how she didn't have support in her life. Now, this was in a career, but this could be in your personal life. You could feel that you don't have support that is really caring and loving around you. These are all beliefs. These are all lies that we tell ourselves. And if you would like to change that, to turn it around, then I invite you to have a conversation with me. I invite you to do some work with me. This is my specialty and this is my passion, is helping people turn their lies into positive, supportive beliefs so that they can get the blessings that God really wants you to get. So if that speaks to you, you can direct message me. I will put a link into my calendar in the comments below. And you are, really, I've opened up a few spots. You're welcome to reach out and set up a time to chat with me, because you are worthy of all the blessings that God has for you. It's just about clearing out the lies. That's all it's ever about. The insecurities, the worries, the really damaging thoughts that don't support you, that actually sabotage you and kink up your ability for God's flow to move through you. All right. So 3 ways that we block our blessings are that we ask other people for advice when we have an inner knowing, and we don't listen to our own inner knowing, but we listen to other people thinking they know better, elevating them above God. So that's one way we block our blessings. Secondly is thinking that other people would be upset with us if we had more blessings in our life, and worrying about how those relationships would be affected, and knowing that whatever blessing you receive will actually be an inspiration to other people. And thirdly, by the lies we tell ourselves, allowing a lesser thought, lesser identity to enter, that becomes a lose identity evolving, which becomes a loser identity established. So if you would like help with any of this, please reach out. I just so grateful to be able to share this information with you, and just wishing you so much love and so many blessings, and absolutely wishing you God's favor. Bye for now.